I was hit while crossing the street by an off-duty police officer and sent to jail charged with possession and failure to use a crosswalk. Get a lawyer. Random Redditor fact. Lots 42 once met Hulk Hogan. If you were crossing at a corner that is not jaywalking in any state that I know of, they are just trying to scare you from suing them. Which is odd, because by being charged he's got no choice. I mean, yeah, he could sit there and get reamed while corrupted cops get off. I'd like to see the officers who responded to his call prosecuted as well. When an off-duty police officer is involved in an accident, he definitely is not permitted to become involved in the subsequent investigation, which he clearly did by telling the on-duty officers to search your bag. You could easily get it thrown out for abuse of power if you get a lawyer. 321.327 Pedestrians right of way. Where traffic control signals are not in place or in operation, the driver of a vehicle shall yield the right of way, slowing down or stopping if need be to so yield, to a pedestrian crossing the roadway within any marked crosswalk or within any unmarked crosswalk at an intersection, except as otherwise provided in this chapter. A person convicted of a violation of this section is guilty of a simple misdemeanor punishable as a scheduled violation under section 805.8a, subsection 7. Paragraph B. 321.327 Pedestrians right of way. Where traffic control signals are not in place or in operation, the driver of a vehicle shall yield the right of way, slowing down or stopping if need be to so yield, to a pedestrian crossing the roadway within any marked crosswalk or within any unmarked crosswalk at an intersection, except as otherwise provided in this chapter. A person convicted of a violation of this section is guilty of a simple misdemeanor punishable as a scheduled violation under section 805.8a, subsection 7. Paragraph B. From the Code of Iowa. Lawyer up. This sounds like a breach of multiple laws on behalf of the PD and especially the officer in question. You might not make much money, but if you can smear the PD, you'll be doing the community a favor. Got to the hospital and say you have unbearable pain. Get sent to a chiropractor and complain of extensive soft tissue damage. Find out who the dirtiest lawyer for miles is. Hire him and sue the crap out of everyone involved. This is probably one of the only times on Reddit when it is not overdramatic and ridiculous to say lawyer up. Seriously, if you find an ambulance chaser, his eyes will light up when you explain this case to him. Well said, Nepalpis. Dump her. Hit the gym. Delete from Facebook. Quit job. Get job. Stop talking about it on Reddit or anywhere else and lawyer up. Man up. Don't be such a p. Life is really hard. Get used to it. The popo. Call them. Make a cop come. Get off Reddit and go see a freaking doctor, you dumb boss. Take a break from Reddit, the internet's Tauguai. If the interwebs Reddit is your only hope, you're already fricked for good. All you can do by talking about all this with anyone who isn't your attorney is to hurt your eventual case. So stop. Get an attorney and go from there. And stop talking about it. Good luck. This is all you need to know. Also, this probably isn't a popular opinion, but deleting your posts as quickly as possible and just talking with a lawyer from then on can only help. My buddy got hit by a car about 2 years ago. Woke up in the middle of the road with cops, ambulance, and people all around. The cops wrote him a ticket for obstructing traffic. $120. The driver was never found. That is so fricked up. Whoa, so much hassle for the cop now. He should have just said sorry. You could have both been on your way. If someone hits me with their car, I don't think I'd just go on my way. I'd at least get a police report in case any injuries spring up that may not be noticeable at first. Sounds like this cop was having a bad day and decided to abuse his power to take it out on someone else. I was hit on my bicycle by a police officer in Charleston, SC in 2009. Caved in the hood of his car and windshield and turned his bumper into a V. On the police report it stated that I was riding my bicycle on the sidewalk. I was not. In the emergency room the state trooper that got my statement informed of this. And I replied, if I were riding my bike on the sidewalk, what were you doing driving on the sidewalk? To which he answered, I have no comment on that. About 10 grand in hospital bills. Maybe contact your local media outlets. This sounds bizarre enough to make national coverage. Pretty sure the cops wouldn't want that. So did you use a crosswalk or not? Type Iowa City, Iowa, Burlington and S. Van Buren St. into Google Maps. Tell me if that's a crosswalk. I'm not necessarily saying it is for sure. I genuinely don't know and I'm curious. Hey Johnson, look at that guy crossing the street. Haha, he's not using a crosswalk. Let's hit him. Just sprinkle some crack on him and let's get out of here. There was a similar situation in front of my apartment a few years ago. An off-duty cop hit another car at 2 in the morning. Since it was pretty loud, a bunch of neighbors came down to see that everyone was okay. No injuries, and we notified the police. The off-duty cop called his precinct as well, and then left, within about 10 minutes of the accident. It was 4 hours before cops from the neighboring university showed up to take the report, all the while dispatch telling the other driver he couldn't leave. I didn't see any indication that the off-duty cop was drunk, but if he was, they gave him ample time to lower his back. Fun fact, back lowers at an almost constant rate, so if he had any back, they could compare it to the amount of time elapsed and voila, back at time of incident. In 99% of the states, pedestrians have the right of way. Fight IT, fight IT, fight IT. There has to be a report of who hit you. Fight IT, fight IT, fight IT. Then sue his insurance for injuries. Then sue the cops for not taking you to her to be checked first. 99% means somewhere there is one stroke to a state where pedestrians don't have the right of way. Lawyer up. Iowa City? If so, get a hold of the University Law Department. They help students for free. WTF equals Paula? I think it is possession of alcohol under legal age. When OP said possession in the title, I thought he meant drugs, but since he mentions booze, this is my best guess. Were you using the crosswalk correctly? If you were, go to the media. If not, stop running across the street at night when there are cars coming. Definitely, always go to the media. They're the good fairies. A couple of years back I was tailed from an ATM and then unknowingly pickpocketed shortly after. I phoned the police. They turned up and asked if there's anyone I suspected. I pointed at this group of people who were being shifty with me just prior, being needlessly aggressive to me, which I assume was them trying to distract me so one can take the wallet. It turned out one of the people in the group was a relation to the police officer. He goes over to talk to them, comes back a few minutes later and says they'd claimed I was trying to sell them ecstasy. So under section balls he told me to empty my pockets. I had under £10 worth of weed on me, so he put me in the van and stopped bothering to investigate what I'd reported, even though he promised if I complied. The next day they take my photo fingerprints and give me a caution for possession, let me back onto the street with no wallet, no money. I go to the bank only to find out my entire bank account had been emptied shortly after my wallet went missing. To serve and protect? Yay, right. That is crappy, but you should have gotten rid of the herb before you called the cops. You fricked yourself pretty bad, but what happened to you is still total balls. You are under the legal drinking age. You had alcohol in your backpack. You are fricked. There is nothing you can do to be taken seriously. You had a backpack full of alcohol. If your backpack contained no alcohol, you would be able to get something done about this. I live about a block away from where you said you got hit and go to U of I. I'm going to assume you do too. First of all, get a lawyer. That's probably the only thing that is truly going to help you in this situation. I walk through that intersection every day to get class, and that is one of the loudest, busiest areas in Iowa City on a Friday night, especially since finals ended this yesterday. If you turn down any side street off of Burlington, it is all college kids, plus you're a block away from liquor downtown. It confounds me that no one was walking or driving by at that time, and no one stopped to see if you were alright or anything. I would ask anyone you know if they know anyone that saw something. Make some sort of Facebook page map. While I see cops are generally dongs, Iowa City is fairly liberal, and I would send your story to the Daily Iowan. Sounds like what Seth Rogen did in Superbad. This is the time you look for your best shark flicking lawyer with the slickest local commercials. They love this crap. I mean they fapped to the legal documents late at night when the secretary's gone home. If by ICPD you mean Iowa City Police Department, then I know who you are and I know those officers. I was there at the time of your booking. Did they or did you take a breathalyzer? If they didn't ask you, this sounds bizarre. But also, he was off duty, so these PPL saying to get the arrest on film. All they have is a kid getting arrested and finding alcohol in his backpack, not the cop hitting him or the lack of probable cause. Since he was off duty, you most likely will only get probation. And if it's your first offense, when they offer it to you, say no and ask for unsupervised, number 600 fee, and no monthly meetings. They will give it to you. If you say no, I want to go to trial, they almost have to because it is your right. And they will not. I reply not take a case of jaywalking and fricking Paula to court. I promise. This may be better to wait out. Any more questions, PM me. My boyfriend grew up with an ambulance chaser lawyer, and I just asked him, and this is what he told me to tell you. So you can take either of our advice. I posted mine earlier. I read stories like this and would love to take your case. Too bad no one is ever in my jurisdiction. This type of behavior, if exposed by the media with proofs, would probably make these 3 officers lose their job, and that'd be deserved. Don't be naive. They'll get a week of paid leave and a commendation for being tough on underage drinking. Power drunk donut muncher. Is there CCTV from the gas station? Never trust CCTV footage from a gas station. It will show a missile hitting the Pentagon. The OP. Yes, you were. Or, wait, was that a question? I love you. Why didn't they take you to a hospital? You could have internal damage or something. Now, just so everyone can realize this, a person's morality doesn't suddenly change in these situations. All these massive buttholes are actually police officers who are willing to frick you for no good reason. Maybe the gas station caught it on the security camera. Sounds like you were being protected and then served. Ha 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 ha. Get a big lawyer involved if you can. Have hit and run charges filed on the officer in question. Get IAD involved. Get the FBI involved. Whatever it takes. You definitely should not go out and buy a sniper rifle and kill all the cops involved. That would not be the way to go. Well, hopefully there won't be a next time, but if something like this ever happens to anyone, don't ever let the cops do anything. Make them do as much work as possible. If they say you're drugged, tell them to get the breathalyzer. If they want to search you, tell them to get the dogs. Don't believe any of the bulls they throw. Most of the time, they will not do anything unless they really think it is worth it. If they want to search your car because they think you have a joint, tell them they can get the dogs. If they do decide to get a warrant and go through the whole process, the charge is no different than if they didn't. You don't get in more trouble just because they searched with a warrant instead of your permission. Also, don't say anything and always keep a lawyer's card in your wallet purse. If you are pulled over and are scared you will fumble your words, remember you have the right to remain silent. Even for a routine traffic stop you can keep your mouth closed and not utter a word. Just wait till you talk to a lawyer first. Policeman gonna police. Welcome to America. You're a dumbass, and you should have looked both ways. Sorry, dude. Happens to the best of us. Contact the ACLU. They apparently searched your stuff without consent after you were cuffed, which is against the law. They can only search your stuff without consent if they think you might be hiding a weapon that could be used against them. Clearly you couldn't use that weapon while cuffed. Ergo they had no right to search your things. As a result, the alcohol evidence is inadmissible in court, which means the Paula should get dropped, and they should get charged with an unreasonable search. Seriously, get a lawyer, and tear them a new one. Use a crosswalk? I dunno. Sometimes it makes sense to obey the law. Maybe you won't get hit by a car when you're carrying around booze. If the car stopped 5 yards away from you, it implies that the car, although this depends on speed, was stopping relatively early before you got hit. Anyone with knowledge over 14 years old knows that cars don't stop instantly. A car will stop 20-30 feet after stepping on the brake at 20 miles an hour. There's a good chance they tried to stop but couldn't. Maybe you should consider this next time you step out in front of a car. You shouldn't freaking jaywalk, Jesus Christ. Lawyer up. Don't forget to update us later. That was almost certainly an illegal arrest and search. You should have specifically requested to be breathalyzed so you would have evidence against public intoxication. With a good lawyer you should be able to get this thrown out and get the officer in trouble. And people wonder why I don't trust most cops. Honestly, with the exception of my incident with a few cops last night, my experiences with the ICPD have been entirely pleasant, or at least just. The only advice worth a dang is to get a lawyer who specializes in traffic citations. They are sharks. Main point, that would help. Were you drinking and did you have any booze in your bag? If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.